This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin' is your boy. And ladies and gentlemen, those are literally the first words that I've spoken this morning. You can probably hear it in my voice. My voice is still a little scratchy. You know, I had a late night last night, so, this is kind of early for me today. The first words that I spoke was Knicks family, what's poppin'? Hopefully you're having a good Sunday morning, and hopefully we're going to have a good Sunday afternoon with the Knicks versus the Milwaukee Bucks, but it's going to be a tough one because the Knicks are dealing with some injury issues coming into this game, ladies and gentlemen. Injury issues, yes. The New York Knicks are trying to get back on the winning track after falling 2 games below 500. Ladies and gentlemen, who would have thought that the Knicks were going to be 2 games below 500 at this point? 500? I thought maybe. A few games above 500? I thought maybe. Below 500? I didn't think so. But they're below 500. 12-14 on the season. They're in 12th place in the Eastern Conference. We'll see if, we'll see if something can spark this Knicks team. And sometimes it takes something like today for a spark to happen. Let's hope maybe today is the spark. Because the Knicks are dealing with some serious injury issues. For the New York Knicks, Alec Burks, he's expected to be out until at least December the 14th, which is Tuesday. RJ Barrett, he's out due to COVID protocol. Obi Toppin, he's out due to COVID protocol. So 2/5 of the starting lineup, ladies and gentlemen, is out, and one very important bench player is out due to COVID protocol for the New York Knicks. As for the Milwaukee Bucks, let's check this out here. George Hill, he's a game-time decision with a knee injury. Wesley Matthews, he's out due to COVID-19. He's expected to be out at least until tomorrow. Dante DiVincenzo, he's been out for a while. He's expected to be out until December the 15th. Brook Lopez is out until March 1st, at least March 1st. Semi Ojeleye is out until December the 15th. So the Bucks have some injuries as well. But I think the Knicks' injuries impact their team more than the Bucks' injuries impact their team. So it's going to be interesting to see the way this lineup shakes out for today. That's going to be interesting to see. I have no idea who's going to be in the starting lineup for RJ Barrett at the 3 spot because normally it would have been Alec Burks. So now it's a guessing game. It's a guessing game. Does Kemba Walker come back into the lineup? I doubt it. So he probably elevates Derrick Rose. And then there's a choice. Who do you play at the 3 spot? You play Grimes, you play Knox. I mean, who else you going to get put there? Our bench today is going to be Emmanuel Quickly, Mitchell Robinson. He's got to go deeper than 7. Right? So then you got Quentin Grimes. You got Kevin Knox. You got Miles McBride. He's got to use the bench today. So for all of us who have complained that he's not using the bench, he's got to use the bench. If he chooses to only go to go 7 deep and play small, that's going to be a mistake, I think. Because, what else would he be able to do but go small? If he doesn't start Grimes, if he doesn't start Knox, one of those guys, then he's going to go small unless he's going to move Julius Randle to the 3 spot and start Taj Gibson at power forward along with Nerlens Noel. Possibility? Is it a possibility? That means Julius Randle has to guard Chris Middleton? So there's a lot of questions about how Tom Thibodeau is going to choose to use the lineup. I'm projecting in my starting lineup that it'll be Derrick Rose, Evan Fournier, either Grimes or Knox, Julius Randle, Nerlens Noel. But you just never know. For the Milwaukee Bucks, you got Drew Holiday, Grayson Allen, Chris Middleton, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Bobby Portis. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. And the reason why I say a game like this could be a game that sparks your team, because all of a sudden, with so many guys out, your team says, whoa, we better focus. We better be crisp. We better be on point. We better be ready to play basketball, or you know what's going to happen out there. So maybe that possibility is there. I don't know. It's hard to say. But ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the Game Day pregame show. And for all of your most up-to-date sports content and betting odds, make sure you check out the Game Day. The link is in the description of the video. You can check out their YouTube channel. You can check out their website. And you got time. It's 11 o'clock. You got time to get your bets in if that's what you're going to do. So to help you along, we'll check out the Game Day pregame show team comparison so you can understand the way that these two teams have matched up with each other throughout the season. They've played twice. The series is tied 1-1. I said, let me let Nate the Great with the crazy takes in the building, because he just joined us. Nate the Great with the crazy takes. What's up, man? Can you hear me? You look a little confused out there.
Hey, what's up, brother?
What's going on? I thought you were speaking through the headphones. I asked, can you hear me? Then you take them off and you can hear me. I don't know.
It's not connecting, so I got to play with it a little bit.
Okay. What do you think about these lineups, man? What do you think is going to happen today? Alec Burks out, RJ Barrett out, Obi Toppin out.
Yeah, COVID's definitely hit us hard, man, and injuries.
Who starts at the 3 spot today? I'm assuming Derrick Rose is going to be elevated to the starting lineup. Evan Fournier is still going to be at the shooting guard spot. Who starts at the 3 spot?
That's a good question. I'm going to say Grimes. I think Grimes might get the start.
It might be Grimes. I could see it being Grimes because obviously, he can play some defense. Right, I don't know if it's going to matter. He can play some defense and make it tough on Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton is a vet, should know how to take advantage of a rookie, right? So it's still going to be a tough matchup.
Yeah, I think he's earned the minutes. He's been playing in the kind of in the rotation at times. I think a lot of people might want to see Kevin Knox, but I think because of the defensive ability of Grimes, it would make more sense to kind of put him in there and just kind of see what you got, going forward. I think we kind of know what Kevin Knox is. We need to see more from Grimes because I think Grimes is a player you could definitely put in this rotation now going forward because he's a 4-year senior. He played college for a while. He's not a young dude. And he's, like I said, he's gotten the rotation already, which is a good sign when you're coached by Tibbs because he doesn't play rookies.
Right. I mean, I think it probably will be Grimes, but Kevin Knox is going to have to play.
Yeah.
Right, unless he's going to stick to an 8-man rotation, which would tell him Thibodeau, it could very well be that he sticks with an 8-man rotation. Now,
when's their next game? Sorry.
Hold on one second. Chris Middleton is 6'7". All right, Grimes I think is 6'5". So a 2-inch height difference. If he's playing aggressive defense like he normally does, it shouldn't mean much. The 2-inch height difference, because while Chris Middleton can post a little bit, he's not going to demolish you in the post.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I would expect it would probably be Grimes. Any chance, though, which I doubt this is going to happen, but any chance that he decides to start Taj Gibson at the 4 and put Julius Randle at the 3?
I don't think so, Sim. That's got to be a tough matchup for Middleton because Middleton's a crafty player.
He's a crafty player, but Middleton would also have to guard Julius Randle.
True, but Middleton's got some length on him too. He's not a short guy.
No,
I mean,
he's
a lanky guy, but he's got some length on him that can make a little comfortable for Julius Randle. I just don't want to see Julius having to go around chasing Middleton.
No, that's true. I don't want to have to see that either. But Yeah,
that's a tough one. I mean, there could be times where they probably will try to match up Middleton on or Randall on Middleton, I think, but I gotta think it's gonna be Grimes because Grimes, it makes more sense. He's got the foot speed to match Middleton. Middleton's not an athlete by no means, but he's a very crafty player, and I think Grimes' ability to play good defense will kind of help him out a little bit. Middleton's still going to go off. I expect Middleton to have a big game tonight. The guy's just lethal from every angle of the court.
All right. And Sherwin M said Grimes is 6'4". He's not starting at 3. Maybe not.
Have a choice.
I mean,
we not have a choice.
It could be. And that, he could start at the shooting guard. Either way, he might be in the starting lineup. Let's put it like that. Yeah. And the shooting guard and small forward couldn't go back and forth. I can guarantee you. And Grimes is actually 6'5". I can guarantee you that he'll be guarding Chris Middleton sometimes. He'll be guarding Grayson Allen sometimes. I guess you are going to put Evan Fournier on Chris Middleton.
That's what I was thinking too. I mean, just because the size kind of makes a little more sense if he's only 6'4".
If you're worried about the size aspect, then you can go ahead and put Evan Fournier on Chris Middleton. Either way, I think it amounts to the same thing. Because Evan Fournier is not a good defender, and so he's going to have to chase Chris Middleton around. I still might go with Grimes, you know what I mean? Because he's just more of an aggressive
defensive-minded.
He's just a more aggressive defender, you know what I mean? And can make it a little bit tougher, I think, on Chris Middleton. And maybe he is 6'4". Maybe he is 6'4". Either way.
I thought it was 6'5".
I thought it was. But, they listed him at 6'4" on the NBA website. So I guess you could, if you want to match up size-wise, then you can switch it around and have Grimes at the shooting guard spot and Evan Fournier at the 3 spot so that he's guarding Chris Middleton.
Yeah, either way, it's gonna feel big. It's gonna be a big void, even though RJ, is still sporadic. I mean, you need that scoring power, and I don't know if Grimes gonna give us that. Maybe make some threes here and there, but
I mean, it's gonna. He could. So if you switch up the lineups to look like this: Derrick Rose, facing off against Drew Holiday, Quentin Grimes, and Grayson Allen. They're both about 6'4". Evan Fournier and Chris Middleton, Julius Randle and Antetokounmpo, and Nerlens Noel and Bobby Portis. Those lineups could still, you look at those lineups, and the Milwaukee Bucks have the upper hand. They already had the upper hand. Now they really have the upper hand. All right, now they really got the upper hand.
Yeah, my thing is who's going to guard Giannis.
Julius Randle's going to guard Giannis. I mean, that's how it normally starts out. Nerlens Noel will guard him sometimes, and you could switch that around and say we're just going to have Nerlens Noel guard Giannis and let Julius Randle guard Bobby Portis, at least early in the game, right? And then maybe later, if you want to switch it up, you can have Julius Randle guard Giannis. But, either way, they're going to create that wall.
I think you have to, for self-preservation for the game, I think you have to take Randle off Giannis, because if Randle gets in foul trouble, you're already out Barrett, you're already out Burks. I mean, you're really going to struggle for scoring.
Evan Fournier got to step up. That's what he's getting paid $18 million for. He's got to step up and get some buckets.
Man, there's a lot of people that need to step up and that's getting paid the money. But yeah, I agree with you. But I just don't think you can put Randle on Giannis very often, because Giannis is another very crafty player that knows how to get fouls in the NBA. They give him those fouls, and Randle, he gets frustrated and he gets lazy sometimes on defense, and he gets stupid fouls. He can't do that today.
Yeah, I mean, he usually guards him. I mean, obviously there's always, a lot of people switching and, guarding Giannis. And they create that wall. But, Chris Middleton is back in the lineup. Grayson Allen can shoot threes. Drew Holiday can shoot threes. Bobby Portis can shoot threes. You know what I'm saying? So, we really got to be able to defend that three-point shot. But let's check out this game day team comparison. I want to get it out there, Nate, so people can go place their bets if they're going to place bets.
Bet on the Knicks. That's for sure.
Today's the day to bet on the Knicks. Believe it or not. Because with the Knicks having so many injuries, there'll probably be a bigger underdog. You throw a couple of dollars on them and they surprise everybody. You might.
I'm betting against them, bro. I'm betting against them, man. I saw RJ was out, and I was like, they're already getting like 5.
I'm just saying, you might walk away with some Christmas money, man. It's Christmas shopping time. You might walk away with some Christmas money.
I don't know, Sim. This team worries me a lot, man.
They're worrying everybody, but. You know what I'm saying? Today might be a day where you say, you know what, let me.
No, you could be right, man. The one time I put a bet out, they actually win.
Let me go ahead and place a bet on the Knicks, to surprise some people. You might win some Christmas money. Anyway, the Milwaukee Bucks are averaging 110.7 points per game. The Knicks, 106.2. This is on the season. The Bucks are averaging 47.7 rebounds. The Knicks got to hit the boards because they got a bunch of guys that can rebound. The Knicks averaging 45.7, 22.7 assists for the Bucks, 21.3 for the Knicks, 7.4 steals for the Bucks, 6.8 for the Knicks, 4.6 blocks for the Bucks, 5.6 for the Knicks. Both teams around 13 turnovers per game. The Bucks shooting 45.3% from the field, the Knicks 44% from the field. Both teams shooting 36% from the three-point line. The Bucks shoot 75% from the free throw line. The Knicks are shooting about 78%. The Bucks normally score about 42 points in the paint. The Knicks at 43. Second chance points. The Bucks 13. The Knicks 14. Fast break points. The Bucks 12. The Knicks 11.4. Of course, the Bucks are led in scoring by Giannis Antetokounmpo at 27 points per game. Julius Randle at 19, far cry from what he was last season. And of course, that's your matchup of the night. Julius Randle, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Maybe second in line now is Evan Fournier and Chris Middleton. Evan Fournier's got to jump up. He's got to step up and be a scorer tonight or today. Just a couple of minutes. He's got to be. The Bucks are led in rebounds by Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Knicks by Julius Randle. Drew Holiday leads the Bucks in assists at 6.1. Randle leads the Knicks at 5.2. Giannis Antetokounmpo leads the Bucks in blocks at 1.67, while Mitchell Robinson is leading the Knicks at 1.78. Now, I guess a big question, we'll get back to it after we finish this, these team stats. A big question, though, is does Kemba Walker get any burn today with the lineup being, so short? We'll talk about that in just a second. Looking at the season series is tied 1-1. The Knicks are averaging 106.5 points per game versus the Bucks. 43% from the field, 33.8% from the three-point line, and only averaging 17.5 assists. They average 48.5 rebounds versus the Bucks so far in 2 games, 13 turnovers, 10.5 steals, and 7 blocks. The Bucks are averaging 105 points per game versus the Knicks. And I know that says Toronto up there, but it should be Milwaukee. Should say the Bucks. All right, and I'll get that fixed in just a second as we are discussing these two teams. But the Bucks are averaging 42.4% from the field, 46.5% from three. That's an issue. That's a scary issue, right? Because
they're shooting 42 in the season.
They're shooting no. Versus the Knicks, they're shooting 42.4% versus the Knicks from the field, and they're shooting 46.5% from the 3-point line versus the Knicks so far this season. All right, 46.5% because of the way that the Knicks defend the Milwaukee Bucks. They pack the paint so Giannis can't penetrate. They leave wide open shooters. I expect that trend to continue. Right? So you might expect that the Bucks are going to shoot well from the 3-point line tonight. Now, if for some reason the Bucks are off from the 3-point line, it could be good for the Knicks.
Right.
We'll see. 24 assists for the Milwaukee Bucks. They're averaging 24 assists versus the Knicks. They're averaging 43.5 rebounds, 15 turnovers, 4.5 steals, and 4.5 blocks versus the New York Knicks this season. That's in 2 games. But Nate, do you expect that Kemba Walker will get any burn today? Keep saying today.
I know, right? I honestly think, man, it's all hands on deck, man. It's whoever's available right now. I mean, I think Tibbs is going to have to, put away his pride for a second, understand that he can either run this team into the ground today, and then they don't play till Wednesday, but they play the Warriors, or he could really use his depth today and just have all hands on deck and just see what he can get out of some of these young players or whoever player hasn't been in the rotation. I would hope it's the other one. I don't want to see him run this team into the ground before we play the Warriors, but who knows? I think he could. Yeah. I mean, with Burks being out, I mean, do you trust Quickly with a lot of minutes? I mean, I know he's been playing well, but he's sporadic. He's and Rose. Rose is. I mean, he's coming back from injury. So I would assume Kemba should get some burn. I mean, I don't know. If Kemba doesn't get any burn today, that really tells me that they're just waiting for a trade to come for him. I think that or if something comes along, they're just going to let him go, or they're going to trade him. If he don't get any play today, that's really what I think. I think they're just holding him out so he doesn't get hurt, so that he loses his value.
I mean, I think that's probably in the works anyway, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's probably in the works.
But you don't want your player to get hurt before you try to trade him, or have any issue.
Right. I'm not expecting Kemba to play today. I'm not.
Maybe it's Miles.
Yeah, it could. I think Tibbs would probably go with a shorter lineup. So I'm still only expecting an 8 to 9 man rotation.
But if the game gets out of hand, do you think it's still going to stay the same way?
Well, if it gets out of hand, then of course he's going to play some other people. But I'm expecting it to be an 8 to 9 man rotation. right? So if you got Derrick Rose, Quentin Grimes, Evan Fournier, Julius Randle, Nerlens Noel, then you got Quickly off the bench, and you got Mitchell Robinson off the bench, and then probably Kevin Knox.
Yeah, that bench is going to be
right now.
Really
now, here's another question. It could be Emmanuel Quickly starting. Right, so let's look at that lineup. I'm gonna switch this up real quick because if you're gonna put Grimes at shooting guard and Evan Fournier at small forward, well, Emmanuel Quickly is also 6'4".
Mm-hmm.
Right, so you could put him in the lineup to guard Grayson Allen. The issue there is you have no point guard coming off the bench.
Right.
But you're going to be staggering your lineups anyway.
I actually would like to see Quickly start and keep Rose on the bench because you're going to need some power off the bench. I mean, with Obi being out, Burks not playing, well, he usually comes off the bench. But, I mean, you have Mitchell, you have Knox, and you have either Rose or Quickly off your bench.
I mean, I get it, but the thing is, it's going to be staggered lineup, so it's not like it's going to be, it's going to be staggered lineups. So Quickly would still be playing with those bench guys. Rose would still be playing with those bench guys because the lineups are going to be so staggered. You're going 7 to 8 deep, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why you might want to place it, go ahead and place a bet on the Knicks. Take a chance. Because the lineups are going to be tighter. Guys know they're getting minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, they start to play a little bit different. You've seen it happen before. A team like the Knicks comes out scrappy and desperate because they're 2 games below 500. The Milwaukee Bucks, they're 8-2 in the last 10. 17-10 on the season. They moved up to second place in the Eastern Conference. The Knicks and the Bucks are going in opposite directions from the first time they played this season. The Knicks feeling desperate. The Bucks feeling like, okay, we got to hold on our season now. We got healthy. We got to hold on our season. This is a prime trap game for the Bucks. Just saying.
Giannis, man.
Huh?
I'm not going against Giannis, bro.
I'm just saying it's a prime trap game.
I get it. Yeah, you're right. It's got the narrative for Knicks win, but
it's got the narrative for a trap game for the Bucks. You know what I mean? Where they could maybe sleep a little bit, sleepwalk through this one. Now, of course, the Knicks are playing at 12 o'clock. So you know how the Knicks do during these early games. You heard my voice this morning when I popped on. The first words I said today was what's popping. Knicks fans, what's popping. Knicks family, what's popping. That's the first words I said today. Some of the Knicks players might be crawling out of bed right now like, we got a game.
We got a game today? Oh, man. Yeah. I'm worried about that three-point shooting, Sim. I mean, you highlighted, you said 46% in the series so far.
46.5%.
Yeah, Knicks are terrible at guarding the three-pointers this year. And that's the equalizer in games nowadays. Either you shoot the three at a high clip or you defend the three at a high clip. Knicks don't do either one right now. They're not defending the three at a high clip, and they're not shooting the three at a high clip. And I could just see this game getting out of hand because if we don't guard those threes, Middleton can shoot, Grayson Allen can shoot, Giannis can even put up some three-pointers sometimes, Bobby Portis. I mean, all these dudes can shoot the three. And the Knicks, if they're not rotating, man, it's gonna be ugly.
Yeah. Anthony D said he's betting $500 of my money on the Knicks today.
I hope he wins.
He said $500 of my money. I hope he wins.
Oh. I mean, the line's not bad. It's only 6. So, I mean, 6 is a lot in the NBA.
Yeah. Shout out to Fred Wong. Thank you for the super chat. He said, Sim, can I get you and Nate's honest opinion? Were we a better team with Kemba in or out the rotation? Wins and losses tell me we're better with Kemba. I mean, right now, the wins and losses tell you that. That's without a doubt. The the statistics also back it up at this point.
But you don't see
no
it on the
lies.
court. But you don't see it on the court with Kemba. That's the thing.
I mean, we don't see. So I don't know the answer to that. All I can say is this. Our eyes might have been tainted from last season, right? Because we've seen a different style of defense from the Knicks last season. But when you go back and look at what the Knicks were doing before Kemba went out and compare it to now that he's out the lineup,
It's like night and day.
The Knicks have won one game since he's been out the lineup, I believe. The Knicks were 10-8 or 10-9 with him in the lineup. If you look at the defensive numbers just before he went out, they weren't bad. Those 19 games that he was in, the Knicks had a defensive rating of like 107 point whatever.
But
Obviously, it was a bigger sample size with Kemba Walker there, because he played 19 games. Then, when he's been out of the lineup, and also you don't know what other things have transpired since then, as far as in the Knicks locker room and stuff like that. But right now, looking at the numbers, just strictly looking at the numbers, and of course the win-loss record, seems like maybe they, it says that they were better with Kemba in the lineup. That's what it says, at least right now.
I thought I read a stat sim where they said that when Kemba was not in the game, their defensive rating was a lot better than when he was in the game.
Right, but now he's not playing at all, and over these 5, 6, 7 games, their defensive rating is terrible.
Yeah.
And is it because of Kemba or other issues? Who knows? But just over these games that he's not been there, their defensive rating is bad, like 117 or something like that.
It's our perimeter defense, man.
But now that they've, they held the Bucks to 90 points, but only scored 87, that defensive rating probably dropped a lot over those last 6, 7 games, right? So that defensive rating is probably down to 112 or something like that. But, the numbers are there. You can't argue with the numbers.
Why do you think he took him out of the rotation, Sim? You just needed a different voice. You needed a different look at a player differently.
I think because of what you just cited, when the Knicks, when he was in the lineup, but he was on the bench, and the Knicks' defensive rating at that moment was better, I think he said, well, if I take him out and don't play him at all, maybe we really shore this thing up.
Yeah.
And don't have any of those defensive lapses. Hasn't worked that way so far. Now, the strength of schedule could be different. The strength, we played Brooklyn. As soon as he was out, we played Brooklyn. Then we played Chicago. Had a couple gimmies in there, but Indiana's always a tough game. Toronto's always a tough game. So there's been some tough games in there. Although with Kemba in the lineup, we beat Milwaukee, we beat Philadelphia, we beat Indiana. We beat some tough teams too. So it's hard to say. Guess we need more of a sample size.
Yeah.
Right? Need more of a sample size. It's going to be interesting to see what Tibbs does, though, with the lineup. My keys to the game, is, regardless of all the strategy stuff, man, a lot of this stuff has to do with just the Knicks, to me. One, play with some fire and desire. Play like you're a desperate team. Play like you have expectations. Play like you want to win the basketball game. Don't come out soft. Don't come out lazy. Come out with some fire. We got to defend that three-point line even while constructing the Giannis wall. Defend that three-point line. Close out. Make it tough. They're going to get easy shots, ladies and gentlemen. because of the way that the Knicks normally defend Giannis, the Bucks are going to get some wide open 3-point looks. It's going to happen. Expect it. Expect it. Right? The Knicks are now trying to play the odds here. They're trying to play the odds. They got to go deeper in the lineup today. You know, if he plays 7 players, I don't know. If he plays 7, that's tough. But so he's got to go deeper in the lineup. I would expect Grimes to play a lot, maybe Knox. You know, in order to, you know, lengthen that lineup. Players got to be ready to step up. Kevin Knox got to be ready to step up. Quentin Grimes ready to step up. And then you got to avoid stretches of bad play because the Knicks have had that all season long, stretches of bad play. And it's going to be even more difficult today because of the lineups and the injuries to the Knicks. It's going to be even more difficult to avoid stretches of bad play. You know what I mean? Andy, what do you think, man? Any keys to the game that
You say
anything
Andy?
you agree with, disagree with, that you'd like to add?
I mean, honestly, I think you highlighted everything. The one thing I will say is, yes, this team needs to show up with more pride. I mean, it's crazy to think how bad we are at home. You know, when that should be your saving grace whenever you're struggling. You want to come home, you want to play well. And the Knicks have just kind of been the opposite. It's almost like they'd rather play on the road than play in the most famous arena. Yeah, it just comes down to pride and effort for me. I see this team is still, yeah, they're figuring things out, but you know, it seems like there's a lot of bickering probably inside the organization, a lot of, well, we weren't like this last year and all this stuff. And I think you're right. I think you're right, Sim. As Knicks fans, we did look at last year and we're like, we're good. We got this. You know, we got these 2 players. We're going to be the top of the East and all that. It doesn't work that way. There's a lot of parity in sports. And right now the Knicks are in a kind of a doldrum. They need to kind of figure out what they want to do going forward, whether they need to make moves, whether they need to retool this team or continue going forward. We got to figure it out. And I think that, you know, the Bucks, they're coming in at full strength. You know, they're ready to go. And the Knicks are kind of playing with house money today. I think the Knicks should be
House
playing
money?
loose and, well, I mean, they're playing loose
house
and they're
money?
playing fun.
So okay,
I don't know if that's the right term.
So yeah, it's not house money because house money means they've already won something. And they ain't playing with house money.
Yeah, I get. I meant to say they're playing loose and they're playing fun. They should be playing loose and fun because they're not expected to win this game. Most people are going to pick the Bucks to win. So if that's the expectation, you come in, you're at home, you got young players, you're more likely going to have people in different roles. You should embrace that opportunity, like you said, come out and really put the pedal to the metal and, you know, play hard in this game. Now, if you don't win, hey, you're depleted. You got a lot of stuff going on. That's okay. I just don't want to see the Knicks get blown out, but I'm afraid that's probably going to happen.
But see, I feel like the Knicks, I feel like the pressure is mounting.
It is.
Right. So I don't think they're coming in loose. Because if they start getting smacked today, you know they're going to hear the boos, then they lose.
But it's a good team, Sim. It's not like you're getting blown out by the Pacers.
I get it.
That was a bad.
It don't matter. It's the totality of the season so far that's going to make the fans boo.
Right. Well,
right.
Yeah.
It's the totality of the season, not just this game.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so if they're getting smacked and they're 3 games below 500, or the fans expect because they're getting smacked they're going to be 3 games below 500. You know, the pressure is mounting. The pressure is mounting, and only time will tell if this team is going to truly crack and the season's just going to, you know, spill out like a flood, like a puddle, you know, water spilling through the walls, or, you know, if they're going to let this pressure build them into a diamond. I don't know.
Let me ask you this question. Do you think the Knicks issues are more player personnel, or do you think it's more of just the mentality right now of this team that's really causing this kind of tailspin that we're in right now.
I think that they don't mesh. I think some of there's a few players whose personalities don't mesh, and it's not, and it's flowing throughout the team. You know what I mean? I think last year most of their personalities meshed together. You know what I mean? Very well. I don't think their personalities meshed this year. You don't normally need their personalities to mesh, right? As long as they can play together on the floor. But with this team, it seems that it's affecting their play on the floor as well.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think that when you bring in better players, that is the problem that you worry about, is how is it going to affect the chemistry and what kind of personality are they bringing to the team that you already had. And I think that, not saying that these guys
anytime you bring any player in, you worried
True.
about the personality that's coming in. You know what I mean?
True.
And how they interact with other players.
But especially an impactful player too, that you're expecting to play a big role in your team. You know, it has to kind of fit. And I don't want to say it because I think it's too early still. But I think when the Leon Rose and Mills made these decisions to bring in Fournier and Kemba Walker, they were looking at how can we just upgrade this team. I don't necessarily think they saw how they would mesh chemistry-wise with the current roster. I think they were just trying to upgrade the team, which they should. That's their job. They're supposed to bring in talent, and then the coach is supposed to figure it out in a sense of how to make it all work. You always hear coaches whenever they bring in a big talents to teams, we bring in the talent. It's the coach's responsibility to make this all work. And usually the coaches take onus on that. I haven't heard Tibbs say that yet, So I don't know if he's still kind of figuring it out or if he doesn't think it's his responsibility or what. I mean,
he's still figuring it out. And I'm pretty sure he knows it's his responsibility. He's been around the league for a long time. Mm-hmm. And not only that, the players' mentalities also have to match the coach's mentality.
Right.
And Fournier and Kemba, like the Knicks were, I don't know if you want to call them maybe a high-strung type of team. Everyone kind of had that same type of, I don't want to say high-strung, but everyone had maybe a similar mentality with their approach to the game. And Kemba and Evan Fournier, I don't want to say they didn't approach it seriously, but they're just more calm than everybody else. And maybe that has something to do with it, and in the way that their personalities don't mesh with the team. I don't know.
Well, they don't know. They don't know Tibbs. Yeah, they don't know Tibbs. The other guys that are here on the team, they've played with Tibbs last year, so they kind of saw a whole season of what he's about, what his tendencies are, what kind of person he is. To where these other players that you bring in, they're just kind of feeling Tibbs out right off the bat, and yeah, it's going to be a process. But what worries me is that maybe they came here and they realized, like, man, maybe this is not the guy I thought I was going to be playing for. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Let me get to this call. Call you live, man. Tell me your name and where you're from, please.
Sam.
Hey, what's going on? What's up, man? You call?
I know it's been a minute, family.
Yeah, I guess you calling up to get that 500.
Well, we spending your money, baby. You know what I mean? We spending yours, but we ain't never leaving the Knicks. But let me first say good morning, to Knick Nation out there and everybody, the panel and everybody. This is a team that, going back to not just this, time during the season, but going back to the trading deadline, off season, me, I'd call in, I'd get into these crazy rants because I would feel like management was not ready to step up to the task. Mm-hmm. Look at the East this year, top to bottom.
Yeah.
How many years in the past 10 that you could say that the East is top to bottom better than the West? East is clearly better than the West.
First time in a long time.
First time in a long time. And since this management team came aboard, all we've heard is wait till trading deadline, wait till off season, wait till December, wait till the next trading deadline. It comes a point where, it's like It's no longer waiting. This management team is not equipped to make the necessary moves, right? Look at Toronto. We just played Toronto the other night, right? Toronto is, they're 2 years away, 2 years from winning their championship, or 3 years from winning their championship. Look at how that general manager is just slowly putting the right pieces together. When they were about to lose Powell, what did they do? They traded Powell for Trent Jr. Trading deadline move. When we were sitting there all day, that trading deadline, begging the Knicks to go get Ball, begging the Knicks to make a real maneuver. They go out, they make a maneuver. Look at Chicago. Same thing in the offseason. It's like there's two camps. There's Tibbs and his guys on the floor, and there's management and their guys. You can't tell me that Tibbs wanted Kemba Walker. He's bone on bone. How does bone on bone play the type of defense that he wants to play? I came on this show with you like 2 months ago, and I said when Zeke was talking crazy about Fournier, I said I could name 75 ball players that was better than Fournier because he was a 40-degree day. You begged me not to name 75 ball players. As of today, I could name 85 ball players better than Fournier. Right?
As of right now, he's been a bust. He's been a bust. He's been a bust.
It's like you went out and just got two pieces because you saw the Atlanta series and figured, let's just get offensive pieces and their career says that they average this, so we can interject them and with Julius, and then here we go.
But you don't think not as far as Kemba, right? We know issues with Kemba, but you don't think Tibbs is just having a problem using Fournier? I don't think he uses him right.
Yes. I think he's having a problem using Fournier because Tibbs offensively was never a great offensive tactician. Let's keep it a buck. It's a simple. He's added now where he allow you to shoot the threes and whatever because that's just today's game. But Fournier is the kind of ball player he needs screens.
Yeah.
He needs to move. He needs to handle the ball a little bit. Tibbs has gotten to a thing where I said this a few weeks ago on another program, the worst thing that happened to the Knicks is the same thing that happened to the Giants with ODB. Yeah. Remember that Sunday night ODB makes that catch?
Uh-huh.
They can never reel him in again. Randall becomes second team All-NBA. You can't reel in the monster again. It's all of a sudden because he got that declaration or he got that validation. This is who he is. He's one of the top 15. No, he's not. He's not one of the top 15 players in the NBA.
But see, I don't think he's trying to play like that. I think he's just not playing well at all. I don't think he's trying to play like he's the top 15 guy. I mean, he took 9 shots last game, for God's sake.
No. My point is, you haven't reshaped your offensive strategy. Randall still wants to bring the ball up 30 to 40% of the times. Even the couple of games that Kemba played decent, at no point in time during those first 15 games that we could say Kemba was in charge of the offense. No, Kemba was the conduit from the coach.
I agree. I think it's Thibodeau's call. If you heard in that Toronto game, right? Randall had taken 9 shots, not scoring from the floor. And what did Tibbs call out at the end of the game? You could see the camera was clearly on him. And he's screaming out, ISO, 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 ISO. They throw the ball to Randall. 3 guys surround him. We get the ball back because it was knocked out of bounds. But I really feel like it's Tibbs making these calls. I do. It's Tibbs making the call.
Forcing it.
It's Tibbs making the call.
Forcing it. You have a young stud in Obi. You're playing him 13 minutes a game. I read some ridiculous article that says, well, he has to earn it. So how is he not earning it? Is he trash in practice? Is he not putting up extra shots in practice? You would rather go in with a conventional big lineup than give this kid some more minutes of Randall on the floor. This doesn't bode well for a team that's supposedly one of the let's say the top 10 teams in the conference, and not even one of the top 10 teams in the conference.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, but I do feel like Tibbs is making a lot of these calls. In my last show, I was saying I don't like Tibbs calling out the offense. You need to have a guard on the floor, your point guard, that is in control of making your adjustments on the floor while you can do some other things on the bench. He hasn't handed those reins over to anybody, it seems like, because he's making a lot of the calls. I feel like he is.
Has he ever sat down?
No.
In the 2 years that he's going to, has he ever sat down?
No.
He called every play.
Yep.
It's everything. Tibbs, run this, run that. And like I said before, you got two different camps. You got management that's on one side, Tibbs on another side. You can't. This is not building winning basketball. It's just not. I'm not going to hold up anymore. You know what I'm saying? Sim, you still my man. I'm still watching. Even when I don't get to come on, I'm still out there watching. I'm still
I appreciate you, man. Thank you for the call. Great to hear from you. It's been a minute. Great to hear from you, man.
All right, bro.
All right. Peace. I don't know, Nate the Great. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's
he's just
everybody's up in arms right now because we expected more from this team. We didn't expect them to be a championship level team. I thought that the Knicks were going to be about 6th seed this year, right? That's what I expected. Knowing that the team, the East got better. Or if it really, really clicked, I said, well, maybe they could get a little bit better. Then they started off 5-1, and it seemed like, wow, maybe they're clicking earlier than we thought. Now it's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel right now. Maybe there is some there, but it's hard to see it. I don't know. Hopefully the Knicks can come out and do something today. Just play well.
Compete. Compete. Well. That's all you want to see your team is compete.
Yeah. I just want them to say play well. We'll see. A lot of times when you have a shortened lineup like this, depending on what Tibbs plans to do, they can step up a little bit. We do have some confirmation on the starting lineup, though. Derrick Rose and Quentin Grimes, they are going to be starting. All right, the Knicks PR. The starting five is Rose, Fournier, Grimes, Randall, and Nerlens Noel. Exactly what we have on the board.
Makes sense.
Exactly what we have on the board now. Who's guarding who, that's one thing, but we know who the starting group is. So I'm excited for Grimes. I'm excited to see what Grimes can do out there, right? That's adding, a nice little piece of intrigue to this game. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt about it. But ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you for spending, this early Sunday morning. Well, it's not early. It was early for me when I got up, because I crawled out of bed and said, let me do this show. But I appreciate you guys for being here. Get ready to go get this game popping. And, I will catch you on the post-game show. Nate, you going to be able to join me on the post-game show?
Are they going to win?
I hope so. I don't know.
I usually don't do post-games if they lose. I just don't know what to say.
We're going to see what happens. I mean, we're going to analyze and break down the game. But I'm out of here.
I'll make an exception.
I'm out of here, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you guys. Let's see what the Knicks can do. We're going to see what Grimes can do, too. If Grimes might have a big one today. He might show out a little bit. Anyway, we're out of here. Be peaceful. Spread love.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.